Well, Halloween is only 2 days away, and that means it is time to get the sweets. But many parents are concerned, of course, about all that Halloween candy consumption. I mean, how can we not be? How can we best handle the candy craze with our kids? This morning, we have registered dietitian nutritionist Gisela Bouvier getting us more on how we can manage the candy stash after trick-or-treating. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is always the time of year that's kind of a nightmare when you're trying to keep your kids healthy, but you don't want to ruin the fun. So how do you manage the stash?
Right. Well, I want to first say that I'm definitely a mom and a dietitian, but I'm not a pediatric dietitian. So my recommendations are more generalized for kids, but of course you know your child more, and you can always contact a healthcare professional if you have any questions. But my recommendation is they look forward to this day all year round.
Yes, they do.
Right? One day of maybe eating a little bit too much candy is not going to make or break their health.
Right.
Now, I do recommend that they eat a good dinner before going out trick-or-treating, right? Because you want them to have some protein and fiber to keep their bellies full. The last thing we want is upset stomachs from having too much candy, right? Too much sugar in there. So, and then get your kids involved as far as sorting and getting to choose what houses they go to for trick-or-treating. And that's really going to help to kind of make it in a positive spin. And if they get home and they eat some more candy, that's okay, right? It's not going to make or break their health. And think about, like, when they get involved in sorting the candy, it makes them fun for them too, making sure that it's safe, right? They want to make sure that it's safe too, and you're teaching them in that process. And also, how do they want to sort it? Ask if they want to sort it by colors, or maybe on the ones that they prefer, or maybe dislike. The ones that they dislike, like, ask them, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to donate it to maybe an organization, send it overseas to troops, or maybe to a nursing home? And that's really going to put that positive spin, and they're going to allow themselves to eat that candy.
Yeah, because they eat along the way too. So it's an all-night consumption kind of thing. When you do have it sorted, what do you do with the stash? I mean, are we supposed to limit it right then, or how do we allow them to have it as the days go forward?
That's a great question. So the way I look at it is, again, you know your child more, but don't make it as this forbidden thing, because when we make it forbidden, or especially us millennial parents or generations who've grown up before us, we grew up with the more that you have to earn your candy. If you behave, if you finish your dinner. And this is about neutralizing it so that it maintains as a positive relationship with food in general. But neutralizing the candy means that it can be part of a healthy diet without necessarily having to say that to our kids. So if they ask for a piece of candy, ask, do you want one now, or maybe do you want it with a snack or with dinner? And so instead of saying, well, after dinner, if you eat your full dinner, it's going to help to neutralize it, and not thinking that it's a shameful thing to have to eat and that it's that deprivation, right? It could be, maybe it's visible to them, maybe not necessarily that where they're always able to grab it, depending on the age. Again, you know your child more, but it's okay for them to have it.
That makes sense. Okay, without being the mom who hands out apples and, that house, are there snacks that are better to hand out that the kids will actually think is pretty cool?
So I think about the average age of kids in your neighborhood. Maybe you want some options for the little ones, maybe like goldfish type of thing, or little bars, things like that. But you also want to be considerate of like food allergies, right?
Yeah, that's tough too.
Yeah, exactly. So I always like to ask parents, when they're coming, the kids coming, should I be concerned about any food allergies first of all?
Yeah, good idea.
And then as far as like snacks are concerned, think about what's going to be the best thing for your kids. If it's just candy, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want your kids to maybe have a more balanced meal with their candy, definitely, like I said, with a snack. Or when you think about how are they going to feel, right? I always ask my kids, like, hey, you've had a few pieces of candy. What is your belly telling you right now? Or if they're consuming just the sugary candies, I tell them, like, remind them, like, it's not great for their teeth, right? And I kind of put it in that aspect as opposed to this is bad for you.
Okay. Are there any any types or forms of candy that you as a dietitian go, oh my gosh, like these are the worst of the worst?
So I think that, I don't like to put the term worst on candy, but definitely the ones that are just sugary, there's just no nutritive value there. Sometimes, the ones with chocolate or nut butter and nuts are going to have a little bit of protein in there, are going to be more satisfying and help to also manage blood sugars a little bit better than just that sugar spike of just the plain candy. Again, a few is okay, but I like to tell my kids, like, hey, that's not great for our teeth, or what is your belly telling you? Having them tell me the physical reactions
Yeah.
of their body as opposed to saying, this is bad for you, you've had enough, right?
Yeah, let them have a little bit of control over their lives. It tends to work a little bit better.
Exactly.
If they think that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And having that neutrality, I think, is so important because then it kind of gives them the reins to take care of their health too and still allow them to enjoy their candy.
I love that. Gisela, thank you so much. We
Thanks
always
so
love
much
when
for
you
having
come
me.
in, and we will put information about how you can get in touch with Gisela and all this information about trying to manage that candy stash as we go into Halloween on our website, abc-7.com.